Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw, and I'm here today with Paul Barry, who's the CEO of Avanti Destinations. And if you don't know Avanti, they're probably one of the premier FIT operators in the business, and they've long had a great lineup of destinations that they sell. And just in the past week, they've actually announced a new destination group, a new region that they're going to sell, and that's why we're here. We're going to talk to him about this. He's now focusing on South Pacific. So you'll hear all about that and more on Insider Travel Report.
Thanks for having me,
Paul,
James.
how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Yeah, that's great to see you, although I guess you're on the other side of the country now. First of all, remind us about Avanti Destinations and what it offers, and also the fact that you really only work through travel advisors, right?
Uh, that's correct, James. Avanti Destinations is one of the few tour operators today that works exclusively through travel advisors. We do not deal with the general public. And what we do, I think, is best summed up by our mission statement. The mission statement for me is simply what you do as a business, and ours is pretty simple. Avanti Destinations connects the components for customized international travel, utilizing our technology and our educated staff. And working exclusively with travel advisors, we deliver a unique vacation experience to individuals and groups. And what that simply says is every trip that you book with Avanti is a unique trip for your unique customers.
Mm-hmm.
And we try to create that unique vacation experience where people come back and say, that's a trip I'm going to remember for many, many, many years. And it can be for a whole host of different reasons, but we're into creating unique vacation experiences.
No, that's fantastic. Now, up until now, you sort of focused on Europe, which was used to be your mainstay. You moved into Asia a few years back, then South America, Central America, North Africa, and the Middle East. Why are you now going to sell South Pacific as well?
Okay, well, Avanti Destination started 41 years ago selling Europe. About 20 plus years ago, we added on Central and South America. And 6 years ago, we started offering Asia. Prior to the pandemic, and even today, we do a yearly survey to our travel advisor partners and ask them, is there something Avanti should be doing that they're not doing? And top of the list for 5 years in a row was, why are you not selling Australia and New Zealand?
Mm-hmm.
And in 2020, early 2020, we were ready to launch in about June of that year.
Like everybody else, ready to launch.
Ready to launch. And unfortunately, we all know what happened. And consequently, we had to delay. But that delay allowed us to refine the product and spend time working on internal education. And we felt that now was the right time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
The other things is for travel advisor customers, if you go out and do surveys amongst the FIT style customer, Australia, New Zealand is top of their bucket list too.
Right.
So it's always been in high demand, and it's a perfect FIT destination. It's not a market that is geared towards the escorted group travelers due to its large geographic reach. So it fits in with the Avanti style trip, the Avanti style customer, and it's also counter-cyclical to Europe. So when you have your customer coming maybe in September saying where do they want to travel to, and in the next 6 months, and maybe they don't fancy Europe, Australia, New Zealand, and Fiji are great destinations.
No, absolutely. And so those are the three you're selling so far. There are other places in the South Pacific, but you're going to focus on Australia, New Zealand, and Fiji to begin with, right?
That's correct. When we looked at this area, obviously Australia and New Zealand are the key destinations that people want to see on the trip. It is a long way to get there. 11, 12 hours non-stop, or maybe slightly longer, at a certain West Coast destinations. So some people want to do a stopover en route, and Fiji is the island that really has the best connectivity en route to Australia and New Zealand.
Right.
So we added that in as a stopover option to the two big destinations. But the bulk of travelers heading to the South Pacific do either do Australia, New Zealand, and 50% of them do both based on the data that we've received.
Yeah, and I was lucky enough to do New Zealand for the first time this year, which was amazing. I loved it. And I've been to Australia a few other times, so I'm a little bit familiar with that. And Fiji I've been to as well. It's an amazing destination. Any thought to including Tahiti in the future?
Yes.
Okay.
But let's
digest what you have now, right?
There's a time and a place for everything, and I can get on to how we plan on expanding our product lines in the future, but it's all got to happen in a planned and systematic manner.
Yeah, let's talk about that. How do you have to develop all the components you need to sell FIT programs in the South Pacific? What are some of the challenges and opportunities you faced, if any, during this ramp up? You did have a little extra time on this because of COVID, but now you have everything rolled out. How do you create these things?
That's a very good question, James. Simplistically, people think it's easy to add a new destination, but it's not. There are many complexities and unique aspects to any new destination that you offer in terms of the type of receptive inbound tours and availability that exists, what the infrastructure is like in the country. And when we go and talk to a new destinations, one of the first places we start is talking to the departments of tourism for those local areas. And Australia, New Zealand, and Fiji are very much blessed to have absolutely fabulous departments of tourism who've been incredibly helpful in providing a general overview of the destinations, and later on with education, with marketing, distribution, etc. Our next step after understanding the nature of the market is to go out and pick a destination management company that covers those areas. That's a specialist in that country that matches the type of services that we want to offer. And we did an extensive work in 2019 and in early 2020 in picking our local partner over in the South Pacific for Australia and New Zealand. And that's based on the quality of accommodations, quality of tours, knowledge of the destination, as well as the technology that they offer. And one of the things that's different about Avanti is we do have, I think, extremely good technology, and we've been able to connect to our DMC partners to provide a lot of live availability on the tours and hotels that they have in their system, which is, I think, needed in that marketplace.
Right.
So that's kind of how we've gone through that process. And then there's later on, we come into the education phase where we have to educate after we've developed the product. The education phase comes in where our staff get educated through work we've done with the departments of tourism, with the airlines, internal training, etc. It's quite a long and intensive process. And we could only do that this year after the recovery years of 22 and 23, that we could allocate the resources internally to be able to do that.
No, that's fantastic. Well, you answered my question whether you were working with Tourism Australia, New Zealand Tourism, and Fiji Tourism, so that they also were key resources, I guess.
Absolutely. I mean, again, I said that those destinations are blessed to have the people they have working for them who are passionate about their countries, their culture, and sharing it with the rest of the world.
Fantastic. Now, I believe, according to the press release that we published last week, you are offering like 280 tours and experiences, 222 3, 4, and 5-star hotels and resorts in more than 50 locations. Does that sound about right?
It does sound about right, and that number over time certainly will increase. And again, as I said, we're connected to our DMC partners, and we jointly choose what are the right products and hotels and services to offer.
Absolutely. Now, you also offered some suggested itineraries. Can you just briefly tell us some of your recommendations and what they include?
Sure. Avanti always comes up. There's an inspiration phase when travel advisors are dealing with their customers in trying to, on an FIT basis, give people something that they want to get inspired by, so they can either say yes, no, and then customize it. So for most of our destinations, we come up with a good basic overview program as a place to inspire the customer with. And so we have our 2 essential programs. And for instance, in Australia, that would include Sydney, Uluru, and Cairns. And from those are the 3 most well-known destinations simply in Australia. And from there, you can build upon. Do we expect actually to sell that tour exactly as it's done? No, it's an inspiration.
Right. Well, some people walk in and they're not sure what they want,
Exactly.
They've heard about some of these destinations, and you're kind of reminding them, yeah, these are the places you should think about, and then we can go from there, right?
Yes. And for Australia, it's not so much a rental car market. So it's unique because the geographic destinations are
You mean, Paul, we can't drive all the way to Uluru? You can, but it's a little probably not advisable, right?
Definitely not. It's that would be an ordeal more than an enjoyable experience.
I think we should do a road trip, man. I don't know about you.
And then for New Zealand is the quintessential fly drive destination,
right? And
that's in our New Zealand essential programs, where we go around and see different parts of New Zealand, Christchurch, Queenstown, and out into the countryside to see some of the sites that are inspired by the Maori culture, etc. So those are 2 of the basics. However, within one of our focuses, or foci, I'm not sure of the plural of that, foci, of doing these destinations is a part of what we like to call the sustainable and symbiotic tourism. And that's doing a lot of tours based around indigenous culture.
Well, right. Both of which, Australia and New Zealand, are very, very focused on that. You're right.
Absolutely. And some of the tours there, I personally haven't been on, but I really can't wait to go. There's a lot of tremendous tours that we do have that we can offer for these destinations. A lot of them are small group tours. There's one we have called a Rainforest Dreaming. It's about Aboriginal art and culture tour.
Right.
Ones where you learn how to do their special dot painting. Ones where you go learn how they do their traditional hunting, etc.
Right.
Learning how.
That means where you get to throw a boomerang, right?
You get to throw a boomerang and get to throw a spear as well.
There you go.
And whether that's hunting for fishing or whatever. That's just an example of one of them. Just walking on a beach and see how an Aboriginal looks at a beach as a source of life, danger, etc. It's just something that we're not used to in our Western culture. And I think it's absolutely fascinating, and I can't wait to experience them myself.
Well, I've been lucky enough to experience a few of them in the last couple of years, and it really is an essential part of any visit to either Australia or New Zealand. So you're going to enjoy it. I know I just got back from New Zealand and saw amazing Maori experiences, and you can't visit New Zealand without experiencing that. If for nothing else, rugby's kind of an adopted Maori experience now, and they have a wonderful museum there that I was given a guide by a Maori guy who was really very cool. Anyway, now let me talk to you a little bit about the advantages of selling an FIT vacation in these South Pacific destinations, and how should travel advisors really be selling them?
Well, first of all, mentioned earlier, Australia and New Zealand was the perfect FIT destination.
Right.
What also goes along with that is saying, okay, well, there's other ones that are probably similar, But once you're traveling that distance, the data we were given that the average length of stay now for an American traveler going to Australia, New Zealand has gone above 14 days.
Right.
So if you're looking, I think it was up to 17 days almost when you look at those destinations. So what you're talking about is a lot of spend. A lot of spend when you're booking an FIT trip means good commissions when you book through an operator such as Avanti Destination. So it's a high price ticket. And it's obviously, as I mentioned earlier, it's top of the bucket list. Doing an FIT for some travel advisors was a little bit worried about the amount of work that they individually may have to do on the trip. And that's where working with Avanti, we can put the trips together both electronically, via the phone, etc., in a relatively fast and efficient manner for them. So they can get their client to the, yes, I want to book that trip now a lot quicker. So it's mixing the complexity of the trip, which is where the customers want to go to a travel agent anyway, but the travel advisor now saying, okay, how do I book this complex trip without spending weeks on research, etc., is by calling a good operator. So it's a great area and destination for providing that unique vacation experience and providing for good earnings on commission. It's also counter-cyclical to the Europe. So if you have customers coming right now and saying, I really want to go on a trip, there's a choice of right now you can either get to the tail end of summer for Europe, or you can go into the peak season for Australia and New Zealand. So and even within those areas, Australia has the more of the jungle north in terms of the tropical area. So even in their winter time, which is our summer, there is still an opportunity to travel to Australia into a warmer area during, etc. So
yeah, you're absolutely right. It's a great time, and again, you pointed out your experts can really put this all together in one, a few calls, if that. So that's something that a travel advisor doesn't have to do on their own.
Yes. So we also operate webinars and training programs, and we've got our first webinar starting this Friday, I believe, Thursday or Friday. And you can see those on our website on book.avantidestinations.com through our agent portal, and signing up for some of our basic training and how to work with Avanti on booking these destinations going forward.
And you have recordings of those webinars in case, let's say, I'm not sure if this is going to appear, hopefully it will appear before then, but if they can see recordings of those webinars, right?
Yes, we do. We record all of our webinars so that people can go back and look at them and listen to them at their convenience.
Fantastic. Now, is there anything else you want to tell now we're up to about 124,000 travel advisors now about your new South Pacific programs?
It's a great time to be a travel advisor.
Yeah.
So the death of the travel advisor has been written 100 times in probably the last 20 years. But now is as good a time, and probably one of the best times ever, to be a travel advisor. There's great opportunities out there to work within the distribution channel of tour operators on providing, as we describe, a unique vacation experience. Work with a good tour operator that's going to work with you directly, and earning good commissions for what you do and creating great experiences so you get your repeat customer again and again. So I can't think of a better time to be a travel advisor. And for myself, I can't think of a better time to be a tour operator servicing an ever-growing travel trade community.
Absolutely. And that's what I've been hearing at all the events I've been attending lately, travel agency conferences and everything else. It really is, as we emerge from the COVID period, one of the best times to be a travel advisor ever that I can remember. And I've been doing this for 32 years. So where can travel advisors go to learn more about these programs, your website and the phone number? And what's the easiest way to book these experiences?
Either book them via phone via our 800 number, it's 800-422-5053, or by going on to our website, book.avantidestinations.com.
That's very simple. And be sure to take a look at some of these webinars that Avanti has done a great job in the past, always, of providing great education and webinars about all the destinations they serve. Paul, it's great to see you again. Congratulations on this brand new South Pacific product. And I'm sure it's going to be a winner because I know how great those destinations are from personal experience. And I know a lot of travel advisors are looking for new and different ways and to sell them as FIT products as well. Again, great to see you.
Thanks, James. Good to see you all.
I'm James Shillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.